You're watching the Low Country Liberty Report. It's pure crap. Don't watch it.
This program is brought to you by FreeKeen.com. FreeKeen.com features audio, video, and blogs chronicling the transition to a voluntary society. FreeKeen.com also has comments and discussion forums so you can be heard. FreeKeen.com.
I'm here with Darryl Perry, and Darryl, you just released the latest book. You've released a couple books. How many books have you written now?
I've actually authored 3 of my own, and I edited another one that was a compilation book done as a tribute to the Ron Paul presidential campaign.
And what's your newest book about, and what's it called?
The newest book is the Anarcho Teachings of Yeshua, and I wrote the book to help Christians understand what the teachings of Jesus, or Yeshua, was all about. And Yeshua is the Aramaic name for who most people call Jesus. But I wanted people to realize that the Messiah was not advocating using governmental force to initiate moral beliefs on anyone. It's all about peace, and yes, share your beliefs, but do not force your beliefs on others.
Why do you think that there seems to be 2 different types of Christians when I meet them? There are people that get it, that, you know, they just want to be left alone and practice their religion, and there's other Christians who want to use the government to legislate morality and tell other people what they can and can't do. Give me an example of how your book addresses that.
Well, I have a chapter titled Non-Aggression, the Greatest Commandment, and I compare the greatest commandment given by the Messiah to love one another and love the Lord with all your heart, with the non-aggression principle to not initiate force and not to delegate the initiation of force. And those work hand in hand, because if you believe that you are to love everyone as God loves you and as you love yourself and you love God, then you should not initiate force of any kind. And that includes moral initiation of, this is what I believe, so you should believe it too. And if you don't, I'm going to legislate that you have to at least practice this way.
Do you think that they understand when these people that legislate what they're doing, or do you think it's just kind of like a disconnect? They don't think about that they're actually using force, and Jesus would never use force.
I don't think that they make the connection between the two. They don't see that what they're doing is force. You know, government is force. And most people that get elected to governmental positions do not agree with the concept that government is force.
Well, explain to someone why, I mean, for someone that's never heard that message before, it does sound a little extreme. Why do you say government's force?
Well, just think about it. They give you a rule, and then they use guns to make sure that you follow the rule. That's not loving, that's not peaceful.
Instead of using persuasion or
instead of using
a voluntary way,
you know, the persuasion of, you know, philosophical persuasion of, let's just take marijuana for example. It has a lot of good medicinal benefits, but there are some people who misuse the plant. I don't want to call it a drug because it's not. It's a natural herb. There are some people that misuse that. So the government decided that they wanted to pass laws saying that no one can use this particular herb. And there's a very good Latin phrase that I wish I could remember, but the rough translation is misuse does not preclude proper use, which is a very good argument against prohibition of any kind. But just because one person can't handle a substance doesn't necessarily mean that it should be illegal. Use a philosophical argument of why it is bad. Driving without a seatbelt. Some people say it's bad. You know, there's arguments on both sides. It should be my personal choice whether I drive with or without a seatbelt. There should not be government force forcing me into a certain lifestyle or attitude,
right,
or anything. So government, by definition, is force.
Well, if people want to find out more about this book and dive into this topic deeper, how can they find your book?
Well, you can go to freepatriotpress.com, and there is a hyphen between Patriot and Press, or go to Amazon, the Anarcho Teachings of Yeshua, or any bookstore, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble. They might not have it in store, but they can order the book.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Taryn.